Hey YouTube, how we doing? It's January. It's August 8th, 2018, and I know it's been a while since I brought you guys a video, and I know I should have had one up a long while ago, but things have gotten really busy really fast, and there have been a lot of developments on the Farmall where it's just been kind of like, you can only work for like 10 minutes here, 20 minutes here, and you just don't have time to pull out the camera because it just wouldn't be worth the time. You'd get almost nothing done. But yeah, I'm back to give you guys an update here and hopefully to show you some of the stuff I've done and what needs to be still done, and hopefully how this thing will run in the future. So trying to think what to say here. First off, I did go to the tractor junkyard up in Spalding, Nebraska, Strom Stump, and I did pick up a couple parts for this tractor, mainly tank supports for the fuel tank, and a coil for the E4A magneto that had no fire. And I do have fire now. And that coil was $10 compared to going online and paying about $250 to $300 for a new one. And that's just without the armature and everything on it. So I figured I'd try this route and see if I could find a decent coil, and I did. And it's got really crisp blue spark. And I'm really happy with it. Now, my one problem with that is, now, since I put that mag back together, I put it all back together. Here, I'll just show you. This is the older armature that came out of this to begin with. But there's originally a nut that's supposed to lead on down to there that holds your points in place. And I'll see if I can find my new one, my newer coil. What did I do with that? There it is. But I don't know. Yeah, you can't really see down in there. I don't have a flashlight on me. But down there, I put this mag and coil and armature back together, all this stuff in the U4A mag, and I got really good spark and everything. But my impulse started acting a little funny, like it wouldn't click or anything, and it was really kind of starting to bother me when I was trying to start it up when I had it timed up and everything. But it just wouldn't click, and it sounded like I wasn't getting anything there. But I could turn it over with a drill, and I'd have the bluest of blue spark this mag has probably produced in a long time. But I figured, might as well just take it apart. I wonder if I got that the distributor rotor off a couple teeth or something, because this one doesn't have the mark on this piece that this one does to keep it in time. So I just kind of guesstimated on that one, and I was thinking, well, might be off a couple teeth. So I took it off. I took the back cap off to where I could see the points here, and that screw, as I found out, was a little broken. It was a little broken there. Like, I mean, snapped in half all the way back down in that hole, and I cannot get anything on it to get it out. I have no idea what I'm going to do from this point on with this mag and this coil and armature, because I don't know how I'm going to get that out. And I took it to my local, they rebuild starters and, alternators and all that kind of stuff. So we were kind of hoping they'd be able to get this out, but they said they had seen them before, but they'd never messed with them. And they never wanted to, they didn't want to take it apart and mess something up. Meaning break anything. And I can see their point for not wanting to do that, because I don't want this thing to work and function properly and not have something broken on it that I have to fix later. But you know, there's that. So I have the F4 magneto that I got from a buddy of mine on here with the same crisp blue spark, and I also picked up from Strumps this this bracket here. Since the one on that is meant for the E4A, this the width right here is a little bit shorter. It stops about right here, and you have the another coupling that goes to the back to the impulse and runs the motor. But yeah, that's a little broken right now, so I went ahead and put this one on there and got it all timed up for the most part, and you know, all that's done. And you'll notice another thing I did is I took the radiator off of this thing because, well, I went to put coolant in it to try and start it up the other day, and it leaked really quite bad in one area. And I'll show you that area in a minute, but I was really kind of disappointed when I found that out, especially after I pretty much JB welded that whole top and bottom. But it didn't have anything to do with that. It's in between the radiator cooling fins, and I still need to find out where they are, because I mean, I took that thing apart. I took that radiator apart probably, I think it was yesterday, or the day before yesterday, I should say, and I found a couple leaks. I found out where a couple leaky areas were, and I repaired them. I just went ahead and soldered them, which I probably should have done in the first place instead of use JB Weld. But I just soldered them together, and I put it back together thinking, oh yeah, hopefully it'll hold coolant now. But nope, still leaks in that same spot. I must have missed that hole with the solder. But I'll have to dig back into that, and hopefully I'll have you guys around to help me and watch. So, but anyway, we got the new tank supports on here for the F20 tank, and a little problem with this tank support back here. I tried to get the original tank supports that were meant for an F20 gas tank, but I guess this area here is a little different on an F20 because this is about 3/4 of an inch shorter than it's supposed to be. Because, yeah, I tried putting this on and the gas tank started sloping down that direction. Started sloping down there. And I was like, no, I can't have that. So now I think I'm going to have to get some 3/4 inch steel and make a little bracket for this. But that's not too big of a deal, I don't think. And we'll make it work. So that one, fortunately, is just perfect for where it's supposed to be. So other than that, yeah. And then this rod right here that controls your spark advance and your spark advance and your throttle. I also took that off and I got that working pretty good. Got the rear one, and then you got your spark advance. So I got that apart. That was actually a real pain to take apart. I'm not gonna lie, because after years and years and years, this tube that runs all the way back to here was full of just dust. I mean, like rust. It's like the rust that turns into dust. And I mean, the rod itself, the 3/8 rod itself, was actually really in good of shape. So I ended up just cleaning it up and putting it all back in there. And I greased everything up and put a whole lot of grease in that tube. And now I think it'll do a very good job keeping this thing alive and running. And I think that'll work really quite well. So, and I'm able to actually put the steering shaft back into here, but since I have the radiator off, I'm not going to do that yet. But anyway, I mentioned before that I actually did try and start this up, and my last starting attempt, actually, I did manage to get some pops out of it, and I do have the footage of that, which I'll probably put in the video either right now sometime or after I'm done talking, which will probably be after I'm done talking. But anyway, I did get some pops out of it. I think my timing might be a little too far, I wouldn't say advanced, but before it's supposed to fire, I should say, because it kicked back on me every time it did fire. And it turned the crank this way instead of not kicking back at all, because it kept firing out of the carburetor from the air intake. So I'm guessing my timing is a little early for the mag on there, which that's not too big of a deal to fix. I'm not really worried about it. But I did get the seat back on there too. And another thing about this carburetor, the other day I was trying to fix some leaks on it, which I knew it was going to be leaky anyway, but it was just leaking like a sieve. So I tried tightening this bottom nut here, and that's when I ran into a problem, because the suction tube or the carb tube, whatever you want to call it, that snapped off in here, and the whole tube was unusable. I mean, the bolt, this nut just snapped it right in half. So I ended up having to get a new one of those from riceequipment.com, which thank you guys for a lot of your help. If you're watching this, they're really helpful people, and I hope to deal with them more in the future. But a lot of stuff has been going on with this. A lot of parts that shouldn't be breaking are, and that just forces me to put more money into it. But let's see here. Here's that suction tube, or carb tube, whatever you want to call it. It snapped off right there. Don't know how well you can see that because of the camera. But it did snap off right there. There's supposed to be threads there, and it snapped off right inside of that nut. So I was able to extract that. I was able to get this off of, I'm trying to think of where I put that. But it was a little rectangular, trying to think, not octagon, pentagonal deal. There it is. This deal. It was originally screwed into here. This is the old one off of, it was originally off of that carburetor, but I managed to find another one and put that one in there until it snapped. So this is the one I'm not going to be able to do really anything with unless I drill it out, because I can't unscrew that with anything. So, but yeah, that tube goes into here, all these holes on each side of it, and does something. Don't know what, but you know, that's that. So it's got a new one in there now, and doesn't leak near as much as it used to, which I'm very pleased with. So there's all that, and I think I'll go out and show you the radiator now. It's in a messy shop, but here's the radiator. Left it outside after I found out it leaked again, and that's not water right there, that's just dirt and grime and stuff I couldn't get out before. But I'm having some problem with the gaskets here. It leaks right along here. I think I'm gonna have to take it all apart and just silicone it and put the gasket back on, because I bet this surface is a little uneven right there, and all that stuff. And in there, the JB weld, you can see the one spot where I soldered over there, that first tube right there ish, and then I soldered some tubes on this side of the tank. And My main problem right now is on this side, right down in here. It is just leaking beyond leaking. And I know there's a hole down in here because I found it and I thought I plugged it with solder, but I must have missed it because it was in a really awkward position. But it just flows right on out through down in here and just leaks out right there. And beforehand, it did leak right up in here and down, but I did manage to fix that with soldering, so I'm not too worried about that now. But I do still need to fix it, which is kind of a pain in the butt, but gotta do what you gotta do. So that's that. And yeah, so you'll probably see me working on that sometime soon. But anyway, the tractor itself it's ready to run. I'm telling you, it's ready to go, but there's always something that breaks with it. I go one step forward and 2 steps back, so that's pretty much how it is on these old things anyway. So I was hoping to have this thing running a while before now, but then again, these things are so unpredictable. And I was hoping to get down to the Now Then threshing show this year up in Minnesota, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it now, because I was hoping to take this thing up there, but then again, it's in a week or two now. I think it's the 17th through the 20th, and it's still not running, still doesn't have tires, and I just don't think I'm going to be able to make it this year, unfortunately. But well, I don't know, we'll see. Maybe if I do get it running, and maybe if I like put some steel on the rear and some steel on the front, maybe then I'll be able to get up there. But honestly, from the way it looks right now, I don't know if we're going to be able to get there or not. But I'll try and be optimistic about it. But other than that, not much has gone on with this. I mean, there have been some big changes, I'll tell you that, because you've seen some big changes here. But honestly, what needs to be done needs to be done. And I'd rather have it running real good and real fine and in prime working condition than have something break and we have to take it all apart again and fix whatever needs to be fixed. So I'd rather do it right and get everything right now instead of later. So there's that, and then I think I'll go back in the yard and show you some other things here. But back in that corner, back that away, the Super M was sitting over there a while back. I don't know why I didn't mention this before, but I think I told you this, but that was my cousin's Super M, and he wanted to work on it over here, but when I was on vacation the last week of June, he asked me if he could take it home. So of course I was like, yeah, well, it's your tractor, you can do what you want with it. And so he took it home. He got a parts tractor for it. A parts M, actually, instead of a Super M. He got a parts M for it, and took whatever off of that he could to help him get his tractor running. And he actually called me up before I started making this video and told me he was going to try and get it to run today. But his starter is a little faulty and isn't turning over at all. But hopefully the starter off of his M will make up for that deal, because I told him to keep pretty much all the electrical you can on it besides the wiring. And if it were me, I probably would have just done all the rewiring myself and just ditched the old stuff, because you never know with that stuff. But you know, he decided to try and work with it, and you know, it's not my deal. But you know, that's what I would have done, is just ditch the wiring and come back to it, or start over. But he's gonna try putting the starter that was on that the Farmall M, his parts M, onto his Super M and see if it'll turn over. But you know, some things aren't meant to work and some are. So I'm just kind of looking around here at my M, thinking about stuff to talk about. But oh man, I'll tell you what, it's been a long, hard, busy couple weeks. I tell you what, between work and well, I'm in my school's band, so marching band and band camp coming up, and school's coming up actually this Friday the 10th, and cross country. I mean, I do cross country, and that started 2 days ago on Monday, or actually 3 days ago now on Monday. And you know, that pretty much takes up my afternoons, because afterwards I'm more or less wanting to sleep it off and try and not hurt myself by cranking over an engine that won't start yet. So yeah, the Farmall M here. I do need to replace some stuff on this manually, all in the lift, all in the lift here. A lot of seals in this lift and a lot of hoses. These are all cracked and brittle and leaking hydraulic fluid. But all that, got the disc here, 2-row lister here, and then the little New Holland S14. This is actually going to be one of my future projects that I'm actually really looking forward to, because this is, I think, a 1972 or a 1973. Or I'm trying to think when they stopped making them and sold the line to Aaron's. But it's a, I'm just going to say, a 70 to 73 model. And these things actually are really quite rare, because you never see a garden tractor like this with New Holland stamped on the side of it. So this was also my grandpa's, and he told me, you get this thing running and you make sure no one steals it, because these things are rarer than rare. You never see any of these anymore. And I think the really cool attraction about this, yeah, it's a New Holland, yeah, it's all rare and stuff, but this thing, and the seat's missing, this thing has a hydraulics on it right in front of the transmission. It's got a, you can put a 3-point hitch on the back, and then it's got this part up here, which is hydraulically controlled on the front here for like either a snow blower or a blade for working snow in the winter. And you could put a 3-point hitch here on the back, and I'm probably going to end up doing that. And yeah, there are some fractures in the back frame here, and you know, all this stuff, and that I'll have to fix. But then again, this is all fiberglass. It's a fiberglass frame, and you know, I expected some crashes and bruises on it, so I'm not all too worried about that. And let's see if I can lift this up here. It should lift right up. There we go. Anyway, yeah, here's this. Here's the hydraulic pump right in here. All the hydraulic lines actually don't look too bad. I know that it's gonna need at least one hydraulic line replaced. I think it's right there, because it leaked all of the hydraulic fluid out of it when I picked it up with a loader to put it on a trailer. But anyway, there's that. This still functions and moves and whatnot, but the rear transmission lever does not. And it's a hydrostatic, which I'm actually really happy about. But I'm probably gonna have to do some work on the transmission which I'm not really fond of working on transmissions, but you gotta do what you gotta do, I guess. But I think this one's gonna take quite a bit of work to get at least fired up. Meaning a lot of wiring, because a lot of the wiring on this thing is pretty gone and pretty not usable anymore. Like this battery box, I mean, it's almost rusted through right down in there. And the stator, I don't know the function of that. I don't know if it's gonna work anymore. And then, oh man, there's a daddy long leg spider right there with, I think, an egg sac. Yum, spiders. That's all fun. Ah, whatever. Just leave it. Don't know when I'm gonna get to this anyway. But the engine is not stuck on this. It's a vertical piston. It's a Kohler it's a Kohler K321 series. And it's a 14 horse engine. So hopefully I won't have to do too much to get this thing running besides wiring and probably going through the starter, because the starter on this thing is pretty shot. So there's all that and all this, and you'll notice the H isn't here, and that's because it's out at my grandparents', because we did some cleaning out there and we hooked the shredder up to the back of it and just mowed the crap out of everything that we had out there. So since they had their tractors either out in the fields or had something hooked up to it that they just didn't want to detach, which is kind of but whatever. I mean, that tractor, that Farmall H was out there before it was here, so, and that's where we got it from. So I could enjoy some time out there a little while longer, which we'll be getting it back here pretty soon, but you know how that goes. Wow, it got right fast. Okay, let's see if I can fix this. There we go. Got the chickies back there crowing away. Can be a little annoying sometimes, but we get good eggs from them. And all this stuff. Peonies right there, already bloomed, probably dying now. So they look like they are some sort of flowers back there, don't know what they are. Some tall grass right back over there by the lilac bush. Nice pole barn here. Really quite nice, love it. And honestly, not much else to tell you or show, so we'll make our way back over to the Farmall lamb and out of the sunlight. But I know I didn't do a lot of wrenching today, and I'm sorry about that, but I think I'm gonna wait till my dad gets home so we can take apart that radiator, because taking it apart by myself, honestly, is a lot of work. A lot of work that I don't want to go through by myself, because I've taken that thing apart a multitude of times and it's just never fun doing it by yourself. So I figured, well, might as well have someone help me take it apart this time, because then I'll have a second opinion on how to fix this thing. So, or how to fix that radiator. So I know there wasn't a lot of wrenching, I said that before, but sometimes you've just got to talk it out. So I think I'll go ahead and end the video here, and thanks for staying tuned. I'm sorry it took so long to get this video up and done, so thank you for bearing with me on that, and thanks for staying with me through the whole Farmall regular deal to my subscribers and the people who watch these videos. So I'm hoping to keep this channel alive and thriving, and I'm hoping to get more people to follow me and get more input on some things. So just thank you. Thank you for staying with me. So, I guess, not much to say, but thanks for watching, and thanks for listening to me talk, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace out. And hopefully it'll start this time. Give it some throttle. Fuel, right? I'm getting somewhere. It's clicking, it's... It wants to go. Because you can hear it. It's double clicking instead of just one. What's that?
I heard it.
Woo! Woo!
There you go.
We got fire!
I heard it pop, but it came out of your back. When you went.
That popped.
Yeah, I heard it pop.
And it smoked. Oh yes, we got fire. That's the first pop that thing's had in 50 years. And well over 50 years.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, come on now.
Yeah, the smoke is coming out of it now.
Out of here? Or out
No,
here?
down there.
Really?
I heard it.
Up my throttle. Now I'm starting to wonder if the fuel leaked out of it. It looks like it did. That was on starting fluid when it popped. Oh, I'm excited.
Finally, right, Dad?
Finally. So it's smoking out of here? Good. It needs to. At least it's not coming out of here. What do I do with the starting fluid?
It's on the bench back there.
Either.
You gotta be careful how you do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do.
Why? I had it advanced all the way.
There, you need the pressure on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have to be really careful.
Popped again though.
Mm-hmm. Are you doing it right?
Yeah. Huh.
You sure it doesn't turn the other way?
Now I'm scared.
Ben,
What?
does it go this way?
It can't go that way.
Just ask him.
Now I'm paranoid.
Well, good reason.
Oh man, it wants to go. It so wants to go. Because I can see it smoking out of there. You just see it trailing out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm letting go every time I hear it
That's
click. exhausted.
Hey, at least it's ready
It's-
to go.
It's ready to go. It really is. It's ready to pop off. It's about time.
Maybe choke it a little bit.
Maybe half choke. Just about went there. Oh my gosh. I gotta take a break. It's exhausting. So friggin' exhausting. I see, now we're getting fuel. Oh man. Now I'm making fuel like a bitch. It would start. If we pulled it, it would start.
Maybe that's what it's going to take, is get it started. And then
Pull
after
it.
that, maybe it'll turn with the crank.
This is hard to do right now.